Okay, and I think we're online. It's always fun to start this with no people. Someday my head's going to wrap itself around this, but until then I'm going to let the whole world know that I'm very confused by the process. Let's start this off as it's supposed to start. Hello. There we go. So I'm going to take a minute to grab a research pod and get myself up to speed on what I was doing in this game. Let's grab this one first. And Harry is joining in the background to talk to us a little bit. He's apparently decided we need to meow again because the stream just started. We're just going to put this down for now because these two are still going. I forgot to, okay, so time did pause while we were out of the game. Yeah, they've both got 20 plus minutes to go. So we'll give that a bit of time before we launch into that. I was down a hole. Hello, my boy. Harry desperately needs attention right now at the very beginning of the stream, naturally. I built a storage. Ooh, and I built a platform for storage. Okay, let's go pop that somewhere. Did I grab two? I got two. I'm a clever one. Where are you, Harry? I'm looking for my cat. Yep. He's disappeared. Okay. Let's go find a spot to put this. Maybe down the side. Yeah, that should be good. We'll put this over here. Maybe as close as we can-ish. And we'll unpack that. And can I see the two thingies from here? I can see one of them. We'll plop that on there. And I can see the other one. And we'll plop that on here. There we go. Okay, so we've got, I don't need that. We'll unpack these two here. And then I still need two more medium storage things for that. So let's go finish those before we launch into exploration and tonight's topic. Plus it gives people some time to come online and hopefully we can just do a little catch up and see how people are doing. Goodness, at the moment Stream Elements' announcement message keeps catching my eye and I need to keep reminding myself that's not actually anything that I need to look at. I'm sure, wow, I did have a whole bunch of resin. Did I use it all up? Maybe I did. Okay, maybe I did. I suppose there was a lot to dig if I remember right, so let's jump down there in the meantime. Oh, and I will say, I've got my setup a little improved. I've got a nice little half-invisible chat thing on my screen that doesn't show on the stream, but at least I can see people's messages there relatively clearly. And I've got what I'm hoping is a live updating user list. I'm really hoping that's going to keep itself up to date and stop me from having, or feeling the need anyway, to refresh it every 5 seconds. Okay, we were down here. I remember there was a zinc thing that I couldn't find, well, I couldn't, goodness, am I falling too far down the hole, that I couldn't find the last time I was down here. I'm not sure if we'll find it again easily now or not, but let's go have a look. Stop right there. Let me just see. There's another section of stats. Usually there was somewhere else I looked for a live. Oh, I think I was on the dashboard. Okay, well I shouldn't need that now. So that's fine. We can ignore that for the moment. And just jump down here. And let's put that in front of here, just so that I remember to take it up with me. Hopefully I'll spend a good 20 minutes down here. Well, no, that's maybe a little hopeful. But we'll spend a good chunk of time so that then by the time I go back up again, I can pop my 2 research pods into the research chambers. Okay, let's grab ourselves. We needed resin, honestly, so now's a good time. Let's go collect all of this. All of this. Let's go collect a good amount of this and know that there's probably very little chance that we'll be collecting all of this in the near future. And that's quite okay. We just need resin to fill up our storage thing so we can make more resin, so we can fill up the storage thing so that we can collect more resin. Goodness, it keeps going up and up and up. I really thought there was just going to be a little bit of it up here and the rest was all going to be down below me, but no. Apparently there's more. Juicy, juicy. Nero, hey, how you doing? I'm so happy. My setup to see users as well, it doesn't alert me, but at least that shows me that people are here, seems to be working. So I didn't even need to refresh my stream to see that you were there. I could just see you. It's a nice change. How are you doing, Nero? How was your day? I'm collecting some resin for my base and looking forward to chatting a little bit about the topic of the night, if you saw it. I'm hoping to chat a little bit about the process of getting therapy started. And I've filled this up. Let's go see. Yeah, I'm going to run back up to the top again. I think, yes, it was this way. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Slowly but surely, we're figuring out what I'm supposed to be doing in this space. And so you missed it when I just started off, but my cat decided literally sort of 10 seconds after I hit record. He'd been perfectly quiet and content before then, but right after that he decided that he needed to talk to me desperately. The game is glitching out. You're alive. Oh dear. That's wonderful that you're alive, but not the most optimistic version of alive. Why only alive, Nero? You should be thriving and happy and glorious and something along those lines. Any good things happening with you today? I see. Wait, actually, let's see if I can fix this. No. I thought I had a nice little chat client all set up that I could talk to people, or that I could see people's chat on my screen, but apparently I was wrong. Oh well. Let's do the usual trick of running like this. And we'll drop that here. Good, I didn't drop it through the floor. And we'll go drop off our collection of resin and go for another run. Actually, no, first I'm going to build some storage pods out of the resin. This one, please. Go. While that's building, we can drop some of that off. Oh yes, I can reach. Okay, I like that. Let's see, not really. Property management, I'm in a residential hotel. Wait, not really. Property management, I'm in a residential hotel, are being idiots. Oh dear. It's never fun when people are idiots. Look, I will say the one thing about stupidity that's kind of in a weird way a nice thing is that it's dependable. You know that stupidity is kind of, what's the saying? There are two constants in the universe, change and stupidity. So there you go. If nothing else, at least you can rely on it to be there. But I'm sorry they're being idiots to you. That's a bit of a pain in the neck. I hope that's not making life too difficult for you. Yeah. I'm not a giant fan of dealing with idiots myself, but sometimes you got to do it, I guess. Yeah, every time I play this, I think to myself, it's so pretty the way it does this, and goodness, I wish it could do this faster. Let's pop that over here. And we wanted one more of those. Have I got? Oh, I've got one. It's just gonna auto put it there. Okay, let's go load that up there and unfold that and put that up here and wait and watch. Oh, excuse me. Wait and watch the paint dry while we get this thing built, because of course we're OCD. We can't just leave it building and go mine more. We have to first pick it up, put it in its right spot, and then go mine more, even though I'm not really gaining anything for doing it. So Nero, it looks like it's going to be just you and me chatting tonight, which is lovely. I'm quite happy to chat to you. One of these days I'm going to have to do some quizzing on my favorite streamers and get their input onto spreading the message around without being a bit of a jerk. a few times I've wanted to sort of announce it on Dr. Mick's channel and a few other channels that I like to join in on. But I've realized, especially, I was on. Yeah, you were actually watching Lowbro. You were watching Lowbro. I'd love to be able to mention it on Lowbro's channel from time to time, but I noticed he's incredibly careful about people advertising their streams there. I think I get it. I know you don't want your platform to become somebody else's platform, but yeah, it would be nice if there's a little bit of leeway, especially when you feel like you are trying to take part in conversation as well. But oh well. Let's see. Jokes about having an AI keep the room busy. About having an AI keep the room busy. Yeah, and I think as well, part of it is just that there was a particular stream of Lowbros where I remember he got, well, I don't remember all the details, but I remember he got quite annoyed with somebody for, I'm not sure if it was advertising their own stream or it was something that they did, but that sort of stuck in my mind, and so I thought, it would probably be better if I at least explicitly talk to them and say, hey, listen, would you mind if I did XYZ, rather than just jumping in of my own accord. So that's kind of my thought process there now. But of course, that means I have to actually make the concerted effort to send them a DM and say, hey, by the way, could I do this? And I don't always get that far, so oh well. Keep the chat. Oh yeah, I remember you were talking about that. Well, I suppose we could probably have a pre-scripted thing and then just have a preset conversation that the bots have with each other. Kind of maybe script it with yourself and then just have the bots talking and you chime in every now and then with, oh yeah, exactly, I was just thinking that. And of course I was just thinking that. I programmed you to say that. But could do it that way. But I imagine making them interact with what I have to say and in the spur of the moment might be trickier. Hey, I must say I do appreciate that on that TKF one at least, I'm free to have somewhere to advertise, even if it's not getting me all that far. It's something. It's really nice to have that there, and I guess I've got to appreciate, that's what they're there for. Thank you so much. Was that you, Neuro? Thank you very much. See, now you'll get your own alerts. You don't even need the TKF. Oh, sorry. But yeah, and I really do like that TKF is there for me to be able to do that. Well, I think I must just see if there's a way to get a little more involved with some of the more regular people there, so that at least my message about my chat is seen as, a familiar face is having a stream, not, hey, this random stranger is doing it. But all in time. I don't actually, in some ways, I don't mind the relative, there's a nice phrase for it, and it's not coming to my head, but sort of the relative unknownness of it for now, because it's nice while I iron out the kinks. So for example, having my chat appear on my screen here, which is ideally what I'd want, but instead I'm glancing off to the other monitor on the side here. So every time you see me doing this, I'm catching up with chat. And I'd like to iron out some things like that to make it a little more smooth, I suppose, before reaching the masses, if we can call it that. I keep running in the wrong direction every time I come up here. Okay, we're going to have enough resin to last me a lifetime. In other words, another run or two. And then I can go see if I can find that zinc again. But so Nero, my conversation point for the night, if you care for it, which of course you're welcome to not care for it and talk about, well, we can talk about whatever we feel like. But my conversation point was thinking of talking about getting started with a therapist. So I will say, I've spent obviously a lot of time on the professional side of that, having clients seek me out and start a therapy process with me. But I thought it's maybe worth speaking about people's experiences starting up with a therapist, because I imagine for a lot of people there can be a little bit of an intimidating factor in that, and it'd be nice to chat about that a little bit. And pick a day when he isn't streaming, or start around wall time. The problem is he's an hour behind me, so by the time wait, is he behind me? I don't know. But either way, I often get to like just after midnight that he's finished streaming, and I sort of sit there going, okay, I kind of want to go to bed now. So as much as I could probably do that a few times just to connect some people with the channel, I definitely don't want to set the expectation that I'm going to be streaming at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning my side. So fine line to trade, but I do hear you. That might be a nice way to plan that. Biggest issues is finding an available one in the insurance or whatever. Now, I must say, the world of insurance, especially as it works in North America, is a bit of a new one to me. I'm used to the rigmarole of the insurance companies in South Africa, but I think it's quite a different ball game to this side. So I can't really comment all too much actually on insurance and therapy this side. I think one thing I like about the North American side of things is that therapists are quite proactive in advertising themselves online. If you go to like Psychology Today and you Google for name of my city plus counselor or psychologist or therapist or whatever, you can generally find quite a lot of results. But I do also wonder with that, what does the average person look for when they're looking around for a psychologist? Do they just take the listing with the most ads, although not the most ads, so it's highest up on the search results, or do they read a quick profile bio and go, yep, that sounds good to me? Or because I have my own idea of, if I were looking for a therapist and knowing how therapists tend to operate, I know what I'd seek out, but I wonder if that maybe differs from what a lot of other people might search for. Sorry, I just dropped something here and I got distracted. Can I find it again? Oh god, I see that hole goes down further. Okay, never mind. So Nira, have you had a lot of issue with that yourself, like finding somebody that's on the right insurance panels and that sort of thing? So for me, most of my therapy experience, actually no, all of my therapy experience has not had to do with insurance, as in my own personal therapy. I've had three therapists that I sought out through the universities I was at the time, just through their student counseling centers. And then the one was a few years later, after I was finished being a student. I actually sought out the therapist that I'd seen while I was a student and just contacted her to say, hey, listen, what are your private rates? I'd like to come back and see you for a while. So I just paid cash for that. So even though I've dealt with the insurance in South Africa, that's always been from the side of being the professional that submits people's claims, as opposed to being a client of a therapist and needing to claim for my own sessions. My friend who works with autistic kids, it's word of mouth or referrals. I gotta say, like, I do think word of mouth. It depends a lot on the state of your practice. So like I can say, when I started, obviously I was doing a lot of advertising on like Google and whatnot. I didn't have to advertise masses. I spent a couple $100 a month, and I more than earned that back from the clients it got me. But over time, even after I left the country, I had people contacting me to say, hey, they'd like to book an appointment. And by then, my advertising was down. I was no longer actively seeking people out. So it kind of gives me an indication that word of mouth was still getting me a fair few clients that side. And admittedly, it's kind of sad to have to send an email at that point to say, sorry, I'm no longer in your country anymore, so I can't really help you. Sad in that I can't help them, and sad in that I lose out on a client in the process. Come here. I do think absolutely, that reputation. I think when you're in a specialist field, like working with kids with autism, for example, word of mouth is going to do absolute wonders for you, because there's going to be sort of communities around that sort of idea. And then what I found a lot in South Africa is we had a fair few like professional groups where people would they'd contact the group to find, professionals would contact the group to say, hey, I'm looking for a therapist that works in such and such an area. And that, was the referrals work in there was really, really, feel like lucrative is a bad word to use here, but it was very good for business. We'll put it that way. The more not euphemistic. What's the word? PC way? No. But it sounds a bit nicer than lucrative. Lucrative sounds like we're money making scam artists. Okay, I'm just digging a hole for no reason. I think, let me pick up this and flatten some of this. Where? Problem is, how do I get it flat in the first place? There we go. That's reasonably flat. Yeah, I accept. Okay, we'll take it from there. Nura, I'm in Canada at the moment, actually. I moved here in December, and at the moment I've still got to complete some courses this side before the College of Psychologists here will allow me to complete my registration. So it's part of why I'm getting into the streaming thing for now, is I've got a lot of time on my hands until even when the studies start, they're not going to be overwhelming. I'm going to be studying part-time until December. But yeah, and then otherwise, I'm looking around at work options, but obviously I can't practice as a psychologist here as yet, so I'm not all too dead set that I must find work opportunities here right away. But it would be nice to have the income, I guess. Okay, this was compound which I wasn't wanting, but there was zinc somewhere nearby. All right, let's dig it up in the meantime. We can't just leave free resources lying around. Oh, I love that sound. So yeah, I'm in Canada now. I'm planning to be here for the long haul, and I've survived the very, very, very cold winter so far, so the likelihood is I'll still be here for probably a long time to come. It was enough of a mission to get the immigration process done that no plans of leaving anytime too soon. The therapist will see my friends to foster... What? The therapist will see my friends to foster kids with autism. Wow, now that's... I've thought of that idea before of like doing foster work. As much as, I'm qualified to be able to work with kids with autism, and I guess maybe in part it's because of that. That would be hard work to foster kids with autism. One of the wonderful things when you're a therapist working with that sort of thing is it's kind of, so my sister's a teacher, and for the longest time she used to say one of the things she loves about her job is she gets to see other people's kids for a good chunk of the day, and then by the time she's had enough of them she can say, okay, bye, I'm going home now. So I could see that, in terms of like doing foster work with kids with autism. Foster work, period, is such a hard thing to do. Specifically, fostering kids with autism, I don't envy her that job. That takes a lot of dedication to do that kind of work. I mean, I'm glad there are people doing that, but I'm not sure I would be the person to do that sort of thing. Let's grab one of these. I've just realized. Not entirely sure. Okay, it can't be this way. It must. Of course, I ran up here to the compound, so it must be down this way again. Sorry, I was getting lost there. A little nervous because my friend's mom is a PhD psychologist, and I've really enjoyed. So I've had on I think 3 occasions I've seen therapists as clients. And I've got to say, like, for me, it's some of the most interesting work because, as therapists, on the one hand, we understand the mechanisms of change and the processes people can go through to make the sort of change they want. But suddenly when we become the client, it's like there's this kind of, to steal a phrase here in a very different way, there's a wall that pops up that, it's so hard to see past that wall into your own things. And seeing other therapists as your clients, it's so great to watch them have those kinds of aha moments. And then, when you'll get to kind of a talking about a particular topic or sort of bringing in a certain angle, challenging thought processes or something, and you can see the little light bulb click in their heads where they sort of go, oh God, I do this with my patients and now I have to do this for myself. But it's actually, what's really nice about it is I really, really enjoy working with clients that have a lot of insight into just into the process and into their own goings on. And, they need that objective source to help them kind of tap into what they're trying to figure out. But once they get that, they often have a lot of insight into themselves, and those are like an absolute pleasure type of client to work with. They have an NATOPS program for working with autistic kids and keeping things consistent. I got to admit, I'm not sure what NATOPS. I'm trying. National Autistic, no. I'm trying to parse that out in my head, but not coming to me automatically. I'm not sure if you can tell me what that NATOPS thing stands for. I have a NATOPS program for working with autistic kids and keeping things consistent. And hey, keeping things autistic, keeping things consistent with people with autism is kind of the number one priority. Like, if nothing else, you want routine and you want order and you want consistency. That's for people with autism, that's going to be one of the biggest things to help them. If this one's done, that must mean this one's about to be done. 5 minutes, yes, I love this research object. Okay, this one should be almost done. Am I hanging around for 3 minutes to get that done? No, but I'm taking the compound off of here. Okay, let's go see. NATOPS. Okay. Oh, there we go. Naval Air Training and Operating Procedure. Whoa. Okay, not what I expected that to be. Okay, let me just read that again for context. Have a NATOPS program for working with autistic kids. Have a Naval Air Training and Operating Procedure Standardization program for working with autistic kids. Wait, the therapists have that program? For working with autistic kids and keeping things consistent. Do you mean as in like a training program for like Naval Air Training program for working with autistic kids, getting them into like military work? Oh, obviously not kids, it would be once they're old enough to actually do that, but it's an interesting idea, assuming it is that. Oh yeah, and I see we have some. So I've had who I hope to be the lovely user, and I need to take my head closer to this name because every time I read this name I struggle. Hang on. Banana Nanan has been in this chat quite a few times, and I'm still not sure if Banana Nanan is a bot or is an actual user. If they're a user, they're doing a great job of lurking in the background, and I give you a full thumbs up for that. But yeah, so Banana Nanan, Banana Nanan, God, name screws with me every time, has been here quite a few times, but I'm not sure if it's just a bot or not. But anyway, if you're not a bot, hello, welcome to the channel. And I saw somebody else as well. Community Showcase. Your name sounds suspiciously like you might be a bot as well. It's because some of the parents of these kids, okay, that's really cool, Neuro. And honestly, like, I think it's really awesome that they've put more of a focus on making programs like these for people who have things like autism. People with autism can be incredibly talented at a lot of different types of work. They just don't function exactly the same way as everybody else. I love the way the field has gone into talking about neurodiversity. I think it's like such a... no, I'm falling down into a hole. It's such a fantastic way to point out the fact that these people with autism operate differently on a neurological level, but that's not to say that they can't do much of what other people can do, and in some ways can do what other people can do in better ways and in different ways and in thinking out of the box ways. And I really love that there's programs like that take advantage of that sort of idea. Okay, let's go. think I'm going to follow this down this way. Oh. First in the group, she's 24 now, but as a young girl, aged 6, was a Navy air boss who's also a physician's assistant. My good, wait. First in the group, she's 24 now, but as a young girl, aged 6, was a Navy air boss. Wait, so when she was 6 years old, they were already like making a role for her, essentially? That's actually really awesome. Like, I'd love to read up more about that sort of program, because that's oh goodness, I can think of it like on the one side for the individual themselves, for that 6-year-old, that's fantastic. For any 6-year-old, it's great to have the opportunity to work in a field, or to discover a field like that. But particularly for somebody who's dealing with autism, to then have an opportunity specifically for them and kind of designed and catered towards them, that gets them some real life exposure that, if nothing else, at least gives them some insight into, hey, here's something you could be doing. Okay, this is where I found a bunch of quartz here earlier. That's why I had the pink beacon there. And then that's just resin down there, I think. There's more quartz over here. Don't actually need more quartz there. Okay, let's carry on down the rabbit hole and see what we find. And all these ones that need power, I'm going to need to bring a bigger power generator down for them. More quartz. Oh, God. Her mom was an air boss. The mom was from the Navy, so did everything the way a pilot would. That's really cool, Neuro. Jeez. I'm curious, are these just people that you happen to know, that you just heard a little bit about this from, or were you involved in that in some way as well? I'm actually, Neuro, I think I remember, did you say at some point that you're a neuroscientist? I think. What do you do for a living, if I can ask? I swear I remember you talking about something to do with that. 24-year-old works part-time as a DoD analyst. I flew with one of the instructors. That's really cool, Nero. So some hands-on experience for that. Did you do any of the flying yourself, or were you just joining in the cockpit? Okay, what's down here? There is stuff down there. I could go check it out. Let's grab these while I'm looking at them. And then, do I have more tethers? I don't, and I just dropped off all my compound. That wasn't very clever, although I did think I was going to be digging up more down here. Oh, you are an EEG tech. Okay, cool. Oh, you were an EEG tech. And you did some flying. No, that's awesome. Give me a second here. I'm trying to... there was somewhere I came down in this cave where there was a bunch of cool stuff. What was that noise? Okay, let's get rid of those while we're here. Okay, and did you leave me some nice things? You did. Thank you very much. And there's some more nice things there, but I'll need compound to get at them. If I go back upstairs, I think they're up. So for some reason, I keep finding myself talking about upstairs and downstairs in this game, even though there's not a single. Yeah, there's not a single staircase in this game. There's ramps that look like staircases, and that's about the closest there is. But oh well. So we're going upstairs to go grab some more compound, to build some tethers, to go down there and explore a bit more. Was the compound on this level? I'm going to say yes, it was. And pretend like I know where I'm going. I think it was down here. But I will say, as much as I'm interested in the field of autism, and potentially I know a decent amount about autism. Being a psychologist, it's something we learn about. At the same time, there are psychologists that specialize in working with autism, and I'm not one of those psychologists, so I can't claim to know absolutely masses about the field. Some of what they do with these kids, they keep things very consistent, very scheduled, and you'd have to. I think if you're working with kids with autism, that kind of goes without saying. But then I imagine, the people that started programs like that, they probably knew that. I doubt it's just somebody who went out on a whim and said, you know what I'll do? I'll do some work with autistic kids. And always try to remember with labels like that. I prefer to use kids or labels like people with autism as opposed to autistic kids. But sometimes the old mentality jumps in there, so I just have to catch my wording from time to time. Have I just found the pathway that I couldn't find before? Sorry, I nearly fell down my little hole here. Is there? Ooh, and there is stuff down there. Wait, and there's compound, which I can make tethers. Okay, progress. Not a generator, not a beacon, not a worklight. Tether bundle. There we go. Okay. I think I'm going to pop down here quickly. Let's just see. And when I come out of it, I'm going to head southwest. Okay. Let's say slowly is the name of this game. Slowly, slowly, God. I need to make these ramps less suicidal. But it's really cool that they do that kind of work at all. I think it's when you're the Navy. It's not like the world expects of you necessarily to make those kinds of opportunities available. So the fact that they have programs like that is pretty awesome. And this one, and then I dropped these. Wait. Then this is the zinc down. Yes. More compound. Okay, let's get. Which do I do first? Okay, I get the plant first because we want to not die. There we go. And then we're going to dig up here. So I originally chose Astroneer as kind of one of my main games to use while streaming because my thought was, there's a lot of mindlessness in this. You just stand staring at a rock, digging some stuff up, and you can focus on other things while you're doing it. And instead I find myself staring intently at this piece of rock in front of me and losing track of the chat as I'm doing it. Although it would help if I figured my stuff out properly and had the chat on screen. I either have a fair few lurkers that are just enjoying the content, or I have a whole bunch of community bot-like things. I'm not sure. I think I'll I don't know. Part of me wants to kind of look into each of their usernames just to see, is there oh no, never mind. I thought there was a bit of debris up there with some interesting things in it, but there was not. Okay, I know there's more above me, but I can't reach it very well from down here, so I'm going to get the easy stuff for the moment. Some people don't like the term, but they call themselves princesses because people learn to respect them or there's consequence. But they call themselves princesses. You mean people with autism call themselves princesses? Because people learn to respect them or there is consequences. And I mean, look, I think, I have two minds about these sorts of, people learn to respect them concepts, because on the one side, I'd like people to automatically respect anybody else, unless given good reason not to. But on the other side, I'm always wary about the idea that, people are given additional respect for something. Because really, we want to be very careful about treating people differently, and it's a difficult line to toe, and so when it comes to mental health problems, so the way the kind of political discussion I think around it goes is that people on the far left of the topic sort of go, hey, we demand respect and you must give us respect and we will lose our shit if you don't give us respect. And people on the far right sort of go, I'm not going to treat you any differently, you're not that special, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of wish there was a mid-ground that people could just say, hey, everybody deserves a certain degree of respect. Did I just kill my tether line? I think I did, or at least I killed this bit of the tether line. I'm just going to plop a new one here. But I found it. Good job, me. I wish there was a midline to say, give everybody respect, but don't give any more respect to somebody with a mental health problem than otherwise. This particular group who work as analysts. Okay, that's, and I will say I find it quite fun that they call themselves princess. You know, I feel like there's a good amount of tongue in cheek there, calling yourself a princess. Ooh, see this little guy. If I hadn't spotted him there, I would have probably just jumped down there and landed on top of him. I don't think I. Oh, did I? Did I pick that up? Yeah, I did. Okay, let's research that. Research that. And we're going to go... I need a ramp down. I can't just run down. Yeah, it's decent. Okay. Okay, and then... Oh, this is a dead end, right? Anything on this side? No, no. Okay, this is a dead end, so I don't need to go any further. We'll grab the research while we're here. By now I almost wonder, how much that gave me? 40. That's not a bad amount. Yeah, it's maybe worth my effort. I want... that. And I see one of those nasty green plants down there. Okay, we'll take care of him in just a second. And there we go. And can we get to you before you do anything nasty to me? There we go. Okay. Now, are there more of them around? I need to make myself dizzy to see if I can find them. It's more like they're there because the Secretary of Defense wants them there. Being condescending or rude to them, whoever's chairing the meeting will deal with them. See, now, that I definitely agree with. You know, if you're going to be condescending or rude to them, hell yes, somebody needs to deal with you then. But similarly, so, you know, I'd want somebody, to, you know, even anybody who is rude to anybody, you know, I'd want them to deal with them effectively. But yes, I absolutely agree with that idea. You know, so people definitely should not be able to get away with being condescending or rude. And you know, in that sense, people who are what's the favorite phrase, neurodevelopmentally different, are definitely more prone to being discriminated against and being treated unfairly and not with respect. And so in that sense, we do need to be aware of that. So I'm really happy there are people doing that. Goodness, that made a loud noise. Where am I going from here? If anywhere. I see blue stuff down there, but I think that's just going to be laterite, which is for copper. And I don't care too much for copper necessarily. Or wait, laterite, copper, aluminium. No, I can't remember. Let's go look. And I'm collecting organic along the way. But I think that the fact that program exists is absolutely awesome. Ooh, hello. Are you going to explode on me? Jeez, I feel like I've reached like a really nasty part of this underground place. And at some point, they're going to be up above me and I'm not going to spot them. And they're going to be right in front of me and I'm not going to spot them. Let's grab those ones and those ones and those ones and those ones. Okay. Let's keep going that way, shall we? And we're going to put that across there. Yeah, that's... Oh, no, I want... Because I need to come back this way as well. Okay, that should be... And Harry is here. Meowing at the door somewhere. Let me just go peek at him. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Harry! Nope, he's not interested. What's interesting is that they have a staff assistant who works for them, usually a combat nurse, and same rule applies, don't insult or be rude. Yeah, and I mean, I really like that Secretary of Defense, you know, if they're taking such an active role and going, hey, don't be rude to my staff or there will be consequences. I want to work for, well, if I were to work for someone, I'd want to work for somebody like that. Where am I going? I do like how we veered completely off the original topic, but it's all good. I'm quite happy to have done so. So I actually had, when I was in SA, there was an NGO that I did, Let's stand back from that one a little bit. And dig up this one. Come on. Come on. There we go. And that one. Goodness, they're just hiding these plants everywhere now. Juice. That was actually a decent sized one. Okay, I'm going to collect some of this. I think that's me full. And my poor cat's saying meow. Okay, shall we run back now? A fair distance. I can hear my partner in the background trying to coax the kitty out of meowing incessantly at the door. Let's get this. But yeah, sorry. I was saying I had an NGO that I did some work with back in South Africa, and part of what I did for them specifically was serving as like a media front for them, because so the NGO dealt specifically with like depression and anxiety. It's the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, actually. But so I did a lot of work. Well, I say work, but it was kind of mutually beneficial stuff that I represented them in the media a fair amount. So I did like radio interviews and TV interviews and newspaper and magazine stuff. And oftentimes, they contacted me about just about any topic. They'd basically send me a message and say, hey, we're looking for somebody to talk about whatever topic. Would you be willing to talk to them about it? And if memory serves, there was the once that they actually did contact me about speaking about autism, and I kind of actually bowed out to that one a little because, depression and anxiety, I have plenty of experience with. It's something that I think if I put a tether over here, if I had a tether to put over here, no, because if I make that, okay, let's drop this up there. And because I want to drop a tether here so that I find my way down there later. And then down here. Okay, that'll be enough. I'll figure it out from that. Okay. Oh, of course. There's nothing else I can do with that. Okay, let's go. Which way is up? This way, I think. Let's find out. But so they asked me to speak about autism. I think it was on a radio show, and I actually just I referred them to somebody else because I sort of said, look, I can speak about it in a very generic sense as a psychologist, which is, on the one hand, I do keep in mind it is more than what perhaps a layperson would know about autism, but I by no means have masses of experience working with it. And so while I've seen some clients with autism before, it's rarely been the absolute focus of our work. And so in that sense, I tend to err on the side of caution in trying to represent myself as some sort of professional as some sort of expert on the topic, just because it is a fairly complex field, and I don't always feel that I'd be doing it justice if I were choosing to talk about it myself. One time the lead analyst got pretty annoyed when someone said they didn't have a solution for this, it wasn't our fault. You mean a physicist and a former NASA administrator couldn't figure this out? I don't believe you. Physicist and a former NASA. I do love the amount of sort of deference they're given to. You mean a physicist couldn't do this? Clearly that person is a knowledgeable person. I always love that. That's kind of a default thing that people with high qualifications are often given a lot of berth as like, wow, you must really know a lot. And I've met some PhD people who I wouldn't necessarily run to for an expert opinion on too many things. Of course, plenty of them are experts in their fields, but yeah, there are all sorts out there. Mike Griffin is a genius. I gotta say, I'm not sure who Mike Griffin is. Should I know who Mike Griffin is? Mike Griffin. No, I'm afraid the name is not ringing any bells. You're going to need to educate me here. While you educate me, I'm going to be staring down a smelter and sorting out some research. Did that just 46 minutes for oh god, for 450 bytes? That was not worth it. And this one is finished. Wasn't there another research object I was supposed to be bringing up? Okay, let's put you there. Put you in the bag, and we'll wait for this one to finish. And Nero, I've just twigged. It would make perfect sense for somebody with a name like yours to be interested in autism, which has to do with neurology and neuroscience. And yeah, I just sort of put two and two together and go, oh, that would make perfect sense. He was a NASA administrator, now works at the Pentagon, but yeah, he's a brilliant engineer. Look, I mean, if he's going to go from NASA administrator to working at the Pentagon, I don't doubt the guy has probably got some brains in him. I feel like that'd be an awesome resume to have. You know, I was a NASA administrator, now I work at the Pentagon. Like, okay, you're hired. What was it you wanted to do with us? What was I? Ooh, ha! I nearly missed one. Okay, we're gonna put that in the bag for the moment, and we'll watch paint dry for this one more. Actually, I need to put my smelter on a bigger platform. Actually, maybe I should do that now. Let's make a bigger platform for my smelter, because then I can not take so much time doing this. I need one, no, stay there, 2, 3 of you. And if I could run in a straight line, I need a large platform. And then I'll want 2 storage things for it as well, so let's grab the resin for that. And plop into this machine. And make some storage. Okay, so the plan is I'm going to move, can I do it in the middle of this? I'm going to move the smelter onto this new large one and put 2 pieces of storage on it so that I can put the materials on there and it should auto load them. Then I'm going to need to put this platform somewhere as well. Okay, we'll figure that out in a moment. Be cool. I'm curious, Nero, do you think, like, is Mike Griffith a name that most people would know, or is it just because you have a special interest or a connection to NASA, or how does that work exactly? I've just realized how low down I am on that webcam. Like my face was disappearing in this. Goodness, I'm really gonna have to work on sitting up straight for this. It's kind of self-selection, but they have a facility in Maryland that has a lot of children with autism, especially higher functioning than most places. There's a lot more children with autism than most places. That's really cool, though. It's kind of self-selection. More space folks know. Okay. I do have some good friends of mine in Ohio. My friend's dad works with NASA. I'm not sure what his position. I mean, it's not a hugely high up position, but he does something for NASA. And so I think because of that, his family is fairly into NASA related stuff. So I get from time to time I get some interesting things via them on like Facebook and whatnot. But I haven't. I like the whole topic of space science, but I haven't really gotten hugely into NASA related things. I just thought. Nero, I see Dr. Mick has come online. Would you be opposed to us ending the stream here and we can go join him? I'll use my raid function again just because then it gets me that little tiny bit of free advertising that people there go, oh hey, this guy's running a stream. So yeah, if you don't mind, we can call it a day for here. Actually, before I do that, let me go keep up my attempted tradition here. Not this. This is just building storage. My attempted tradition is to go do the greeting in front of this. I just love this guy's wave. There we go. We're ready. Bye. I know he's saying hello, but I don't mind. Oh, you have multiple tabs. It's okay. I figure if I'm streaming, I don't get to watch him much, so I'd like to join over that side. So let's go see. His name is Dr. Mick Live. Dr. Mick Live. Okay. Let's pop that up. And then... Oh, hey, 3 viewers are ready to raid. I'm not even sure who was sitting in the background doing that. But okay, should we head over there? Yeah, I'll see you guys on that side. Thanks for the conversation, Nero, and thanks for joining me, guys. See you next time.